I've never in 45 years of being in a wheelchair have asked God to help me walk. All I asked for from day one is just give me the strength, give me the ability to move forward.
We're going to create a video series to show what the possibilities are for somebody in a wheelchair that is running an organization. We want to display that through podcasting.
When you become disabled, you lose a part of yourself. Soaring is a lifestyle. It's not an organization. It's a mindset. It is a 501c3 nonprofit that we started 10 years ago for numerous reasons. The biggest one is to get people with disabilities, to get you outdoors doing the things you love, whether it's a hobby, whether it's just a goal you had to get out and do something on a 100% voluntary basis. Nobody gets paid. This is what we fight as a community, is they see the wheelchair and they don't see us. And I live it every day still today.
There needs to be more voices. There needs to be more messaging. There needs to be more content creation. There needs to be more conversations. There needs to be more contribution, and there needs to be more people feeling good because they had a chance to help. This is the SOAR Podcast powered by the Quadfather. I'm here today with Brian P. Swift. We couldn't be more excited to get started. Brian, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, John. I'm excited to roll forward.
We are recording today to introduce to you this amazing podcast that we are going to be creating together to describe the life and journey of Brian P. Swift, the philanthropy work that he is doing, and the impact that he is having on society. But first off, Brian, welcome into your show.
Thank you, John. I'd like to thank my co-host, John Morris. Check him out and his thriving business to help others in your own philanthropic way. 444 Media.
Yes, sir.
Good luck.
I appreciate it very much. We are often in running, and what's been amazing is the interaction that I've had with Brian. Sometimes you feel like some higher power sent you together. I'm not sure exactly what type of prayer I must have prayed, but I certainly prayed one, and there you were, and popped into my viewpoint. We had a chance to collaborate, and it just turned out to be a fantastic relationship and partnership, and we're just getting started. But Brian, I want to talk a little bit about what SOAR is an acronym. So please describe what that acronym is, and why did you start SOAR?
Sure. So the acronym SOAR stands for Swift Outdoor Accessible Recreation. It is a 501c3 nonprofit that we started 10 years ago for numerous reasons. The biggest one is to get people with disabilities, don't care what your disability is, to get you outdoors doing the things you love, whether it's a hobby, whether it's just a goal you had to get out and do something. When you become disabled, you lose a part of yourself. And I have been blessed to find recovery exists partially in getting back outdoors doing things you love. That could be fishing, that could be triking, it could be a hand cycle, it could be just going to all the beautiful parks and taking walks or rides. It could be hunting, it could be doing photography, it could be sledding, whatever it is, just getting back into driving. Unfortunately, insurance doesn't pay for a lot of the wheelchair attachments or accessories to do all those things that people need to do. And we intervene there and help provide with grants and collaboration to get people with disabilities outdoors.
Now, one of the things I want you to pick up and notice here is we are in the family room at Brian's home. And the reason I think that that's relevant is we're going to create a video series to show what the possibilities are for somebody in a wheelchair that is running an organization that is operating as free as you could possibly operate.
Yes.
And we want to display that through podcasting. We're going to show that we can go to all types of interesting places and create content. And we can help you to live out some of your passions and dreams, which should inspire others to recognize that there's a pathway to soar with Brian.
Absolutely. Soaring is a lifestyle. It's not an organization. It's a mindset. It soars a lot of things. It is an organization. It is a mindset. It is a lifestyle. And people with disabilities lose their ability to dream. They lose hope. They lose faith. They lose so many key characteristics that it takes to thrive and be successful.
I mean, these are the things that keep you going on a day in and day out basis. Like when you lose those feelings and that energy and that drive and that determination, it starts to have an impact on your physical well-being as well. So just take somebody who is capable of utilizing all of their limbs. If they're in a depressive state, they start to get cortisol and they start to tighten up and they start to see a decline in their physicality. Somebody who is a quadriplegic or paralyzed obviously didn't make that choice and their physicality goes first. And that mental strain could play a part in whether or not they're healing, whether or not their blood flow is proper, their organs, whether or not they are able to fight off disease, etc.
Absolutely. And before they lose that physicality. So, let me backtrack. Before they lose the physicality, they have lost that mentality. So the mental part goes first. Able-bodied people withdraw from life, withdraw from their work, withdraw from their relationships, no differently than disabled people do.
Sure.
We just have a little bit more on our plate or a lot on our plate that we have to deal with. And I'll say this, you can't do it alone. I didn't get here without the blessings and the faith I have. I wouldn't be here without the support of family and friends. I wouldn't be here without my mom and dad. And none of that has to do with having money, because I'm very blue collar, grew up blue collar. And all I had at one point when I broke my neck at the age of 17 to lean on was my faith and my family and my friends.
So those that don't know Brian's story, Brian grew up a fantastic athlete. He was playing a pickup football game at a park. He was tackled by a friend, an opponent. It was not any type of egregious tackle. It wasn't. No. He wasn't blown up, if you will. Like he wasn't catching a pass over the middle and got absolutely destroyed by Jack Tatum. He was tackled in a very normal way. This may have been a buildup of athleticism over years, or it was just kind of a freak thing, and it just kind of happened. But from the age 17, Brian has found himself having to deal with the mental and physical strains of the situation that he found himself in. If you've listened to previous content or podcasts that Brian has been on, he's talked about the impact that his parents have had on him, his father being somebody who was very much a tough love, that blue collar kind of tough love type of father that wasn't going to take any stuff and was going to make sure that Brian carried on the legacy, and a mom who would have a similar spirit, but would also see a brighter side of things and was inspirational. So Brian, take us from there. What are some of the things that you recall that kind of stand out? I know later on in life, we recall things that our parents said to us and we go, oh, that's what they meant. Talk a little bit about some of those lessons that were taught to you that you now bring to SOAR.
Well, to put this into context, I got hurt in 1979. This was before technology. We didn't have cell phones. We didn't have laptops. We didn't have the technology we do today.
Sounds like a great world.
My kids miss it. My kids are old souls. I think when I broke my neck, I became an old soul, but I was brought up an old soul because I grew up with grandparents and family and understanding the value of family. Not everybody has that luxury or that ability to grow up with the kind of tight family I did, and that would have made it tougher. The lessons I learned, man, you've got to learn quick. You've got to put the fear aside. And if you base everything on where you're at, to compare it to where do you want to go, it's nothing but green grass and sunshine, anything you can learn to do. But I also came from that gritty father mentality of, them telling my parents, well, he'll probably need an electric wheelchair because when I got hurt, I couldn't move nothing from my neck down, and he's going to need this and that. Back in 1979, the outlook for a quadriplegic made a Stephen King novel look like Dr. Seuss. I mean, it was not pretty. It was all the things you couldn't do. You're not, under 10% went to college. Less than that got married and stay married. You're not going to have kids. All the knots in my life. Those were just statistics.
Yeah.
I decided I am not going to be that guy. I'm not going to be another statistic for them to write about unless it was a statistic that broke statistics.
That's a great stat. I will say this. Brian is a very unique and special human being in that his mental toughness transcends any type of physical or mental ailment. You are mentally strong. Your faith is strong, and that makes you somebody who's able to persevere through adversity and ups and downs. But what would you say to the folks that maybe aren't cut with the same mentality as you? We certainly want to tell people that they need to be tough and pick themselves up by the bootstraps and deal with it, and this is life. And to some that is that works. To others, there might need to be a different angle. So what would you say to the folks that maybe aren't as mentally strong as you?
First thing I would say is I wasn't always like this. This is a culmination of 40 years of building myself up mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. So this is a culmination of getting knocked down after being in a wheelchair. This is a culmination of a lot of losses in life, a lot of disappointments in life. This is a culmination of decisions, a decision I'm going to wake up with a smile on my face every day, a decision that I'm going to wake up thinking about the opportunities ahead of me and put anything that I failed at or didn't succeed at behind me, because that just didn't matter. I mean, I asked, and people, I say this a lot, I've been blessed. Some people look at me oddly, but I've never in 45 years of being in a wheelchair have asked God to help me walk. It's not something I ever asked for. All I asked for from day one is just give me the strength, give me the ability to move forward. It's all I wanted to do. Just give me the strength, give me the mindset, give me the kick in the butt, however in his way he needed to move forward. Because I had that from my parents. But I'm not here just because of my parents. I'm here because of the blessings of God. I'm here because of parents, again, faith, family, and friends. It's a mantra I live by.
So, Brian, why do you think that God identifies people like you and perhaps puts you in situations like this to bring a different perspective to the world? Or do you think that is the case? Or do you think that this is just a law of averages and your number was up and it just happened and you've had to deal with it? Like, do you think that you're being challenged because you can pass the test and it's your ability to pass the test that will help others that may not have been able to without you?
You asked two questions. The first one, I'll answer the second one first. The reason we started SOAR, the reason I've been branded as the Quadfather is so that I could help millions of people move forward in life, create a better mindset. Everything in life is about mindset. People who become successful, it's not always because they've been given the money, the education, the opportunity, the technology, the support. I had very little of the money, the technology to move forward. I help people because I feel I'm good at it and it is my calling. Let's go back to the first question. So the question of what do I think of basically, do I think God put me in this position? First of all, I'll start with, I see a lot of people blaming God for bad things that happen to them. And I would say this, if you believe in God, then you must believe there is a malevolent force, the devil. Why are we so quick to blame God? It's the devil that maybe put me in the wheelchair. It's God that's given me the strength to move forward and take that gold and make the devil set that golden fiddle down at my feet, because he lost this round. Whatever he thought he might be doing with me, he set the golden fiddle down at my feet, because it just didn't happen. I've been truly blessed. Why me? No idea. And this is where my mom came in. It's very faith driven. Things happen to all of us in life. We don't know why. We will probably never get the answers why. So move forward. Move forward. That simple. And a lot of people ask me how I deal with it. I deal with it by just letting it be. I just let it be. I'm in a wheelchair. I'm a quadriplegic. Things happen. I let it be, and I don't focus on letting it be or why me. I focus on that moving forward. I focus on being in the moment and what I can do to move forward, because that creates optimism, that creates hope, and it drives your mindset in the right direction.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Brian P. Swift. You are listening to SOAR, powered by the Quadfather. SOAR, again, is Swift Outdoor Accessible Recreation. And the whole thing is designed to give folks an opportunity to check things off their bucket list, to do the impossible, to do things they thought were not possible, and to raise awareness and money to help folks to get that accessibility. So what can people in this community, because this is where the challenge, I think, exists, is you have a community of people that deal with this, but they're not terribly active in helping to solve this. Now, that's not a knock. There's plenty that they're dealing with in life just to operate on a day in, day out basis. But we want to create awareness, because awareness leads to contribution. Contribution leads to community. Community leads to solutions.
Absolutely.
So how can folks get involved with SOAR, whether they're part of the community or simply looking for a place where they can feel delighted and empowered that they are contributing to the greater good of society?
Absolutely. Well, we cannot function without the benevolence and the love and the support financially of not just people, but small companies, big companies, foundations, organizations. All the money that comes in goes out. We've run SOAR for 10 years on a 100% voluntary basis. Nobody gets paid. My wife spends hundreds of hours. I spend thousands of hours. My kids spend hours helping with SOAR. And the more that we could take in, the more we could help. Let me clarify something. When I help somebody, when our foundation helps somebody, and we get this young girl, 12-year-old, a hand cycle, so she could go out and ride. We not only have we helped her, but we've helped the entire family, because this disability just doesn't affect me. Disability affects tons of people. So not only have we brought hope and happiness and freedom to her life, now we've brought it to her brother and sister who have ridden bikes while she has sat watching.
And probably have felt guilty.
Absolutely. And her parents who have got to deal with this in a way that the kids will never understand, and their friends and the neighbors. And so when we help somebody, we could be affecting 10 people, we could be affecting 25 people. That it changes the way they view people with disabilities. It changes the way they feel about that person, and they feel better because she's out riding a bike, and it gives her hope, and she's smiling more, and now she sees more optimism. So anybody who contributes, understand this. You're just not providing money. You're providing hope. You're providing accessibility. You're providing freedom. You're providing happiness. It transcends the money. But the bottom line is, if we don't have it to buy somebody a $4,000 hand cycle, and they can't afford a $4,000 hand cycle or $3,000 hand controls for a car that now they could drive and get back in and out of, that freedom is gone. The happiness is gone in the other 10 people, the other 25 people. So you're providing more than money.
That's, boy, when you put it that way, it really does resonate. And, it's not necessarily individual contributions that are carrying the way here. You had made mention of businesses. The majority of 501c3s are supported by businesses,
Absolutely,
not individuals. How would a business contributing to this utilize that feel good of the contribution in a greater way from the business to the business perspective? I don't mean to sound cold in any way, shape, or form, but let's be honest for a second.
What do they get out of it?
Everything that businesses do comes with them. What's in it for me? So if as a business, we're going to donate $5,000 of our profit, yeah, that feels good. But what's in it for us beyond that? How can they parlay that into opportunity, which helps them to create more revenue, more profit, better culture, increased productivity, all the things that a CEO is looking at and needs to consider when making these decisions?
Well, one of the obvious way, and it's a cold thing, but it's a business, it's a tax write-off. So let's get that out of the way. They all know what they
call it what it is.
Yeah, I mean, so all businesses do, once they become pretty successful, need tax write-offs. That is what it is. Okay, let's dig deeper. What do they get out of it? Well, outside of the feel good, I know, because I've worked for lots of businesses in the past, when your staff, when your people in that business know that you're contributing to nonprofits, to this organization, they look at you differently. It's not just the management raking in all the money, putting it in his pocket. All of a sudden, they start to see you in a different light. And it does change the way they think and the way they work. They like to hear those things. They want to know that you're being benevolent with the profits that come in, and it shows that you're not just jamming it in your pocket, that you care about other organizations. I believe it does change people inside the business when they know that. That's maybe not enough. So what do? Obviously, we put businesses that contribute to us on our website. We talk about the businesses that contribute to us. You could add it. They could add it to their website.
There's a strong chance that we'll talk about some of those businesses that are sponsoring here on this video series.
Absolutely. Well, I will. And believe it or not, there are some businesses, some organizations, they don't want to be talked about.
Yeah.
They don't want their logo even on, which is fine. That is totally their call.
Yeah.
They want to stay anonymous for whatever reason. I respect that. We try to do what we can to make them to make them understand how grateful we are. Twice a year, I send out photos of all the people we've helped, so they could see. And it's just a photo, but it's more than words. The people that we've given trikes to, or therapeutic hand cycles,
bring
or
it to life.
free wheels, or hand controls, the people that we've gotten out snorkeling, deep sea fishing, whatever it may be, canoeing, they get to see that. And there's nothing that gives you that feeling. Nothing you can do better than giving somebody that feeling.
Okay, so speaking of that, you just listed off a whole bunch of things that the everyday Joe, or I should say everyday John, like myself, would think, how in the world can somebody who's a quadriplegic go scuba diving? Like, how is that even possible? So when you say something like that, I think to myself, my Lord, how that individual who was the recipient of that donation and that effort and that equipment must have felt when they were underwater looking at a yellow and turquoise and black striped fish swim by them, and they're free underwater breathing through this apparatus, probably with peers that have all the accessibility and all the physicality necessary. So, like, how that must have made them feel. Then I think, how does that make you feel, Brian?
Well, I mean, I get the win-win. Selfishly, I get to feel great. And all we ask the recipients is to send us some photos or video of you scuba diving, of you canoeing, of you out triking off the beaten path because you got off-road wheels and a free wheel that helps you ride on gravel and grass and turf. We just ask them for some photos and stay in touch with us. We do a lot of mentoring. Not that we do a ton of mentoring. I'll put it that way, in terms of just getting people out of that dark rabbit hole. I mean, I could spend 100 hours a week mentoring people who just need somebody that believes in them, that helps them believe in themselves, gives them the courage to try something once they get the equipment. Because for them, you know, that hill is that hill's a mountain, and I see mountains as hills. So we try to, let them see that mountain in front of them, make it more of a hill, take that hill down, and then give them the belief and courage and grit to take on that hill.
Brian, you've had some really integral people in your life. One being, I believe, a sister or a nun who helped you decide that you were going to be a lawyer.
Oh boy.
You haven't allowed a whole lot of obstacles to get in your way. Certainly, you have obstacles because you live in a world that is designed for people that are not in a wheelchair. But you haven't allowed a whole lot of obstacles to stand your way. And so you went and became a lawyer. You were in the corporate world. You've been a sales leader, a sales manager, a sales executive. You start a 501c3, so you're an entrepreneur as well. You're into all types of crazy things. You have a motorcycle with a side-by-side that you have. You have a hot rod that has hand controls. You've got a wood shop in your garage. I'm staring right now at a table that you cut out of a huge log and you lacquered and you put legs on it. And now we got a podcast stand coming off of it. I'm sitting in this family room that is filled with woodwork that you have put together. Like you've got hunting trophies in here. Like you just have got all these different things that you have conquered and overcome. So now we have a podcast. Why in the hell are you doing a podcast, Brian? Why are we doing this podcast? What is the point, and why do you feel like you need to conquer this too?
The law of reciprocity. I'll explain it. When you go out with your friends to eat and one of your buddies picks up the bill, you're thankful. For guys, sometimes we make a joke about it, but next time you go out, most people have this feeling of like, I should pick up the bill next. It's like buying rounds of beer, right? If you go out and your buddy picks up a round of beer and the next guy does, we all should feel this desire to give back, to help. And I believe that between all the people in my life and the blessings that I've been given, that I need to give back and continue to help others. Because 10 years ago when we started this journey with SOAR, I also started a John Maxwell journey of becoming a certified coach and speaker. So I do a decent amount of speaking. I do a decent amount of coaching. And I do that because I've been blessed, because I have so many experiences. And the toughest thing is that, getting people to believe that this guy in a wheelchair has anything to offer. They see me and they just don't see it, which I understand.
Do you though?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Like, does it feel like sometimes people are looking through you?
Absolutely. They see the wheelchair. They see the wheelchair. They don't know I've got my college degree, a law degree. That doesn't mean I'm good at what I do, but add that up with all my experience, successful experience, top end, high end success in sales and management and training. All the other accomplishments that have built my confidence, and my failures that have built my confidence. They see the wheelchair. They I don't know. They think that, and again, this is what we fight as a community.
Yeah.
Is they see the wheelchair and they don't see us. And I live it every day still today.
Why do you think as humans we do that? Why do we categorize? Everyone's got to have a category. Everyone's put in, everyone's given a label. And, it's unfortunate, because I think you're right, Brian. I think that I probably have walked past somebody in a wheelchair and just thought, oh, gosh, that poor person. And that person, quite honestly, might have a stronger mental capacity than me. They might be more spiritual. They might be 100 times happier than I've ever been in my happiest. They may have had some of the greatest experiences of travel, and they may have been rewarded and recognized for their contributions to society and a corporation and a brand. But we see the wheelchair.
Absolutely. And until you get to know me, they don't understand that. I don't know if they think I only work and hang out with people in wheelchairs. My disability community is tiny, that I surround myself with, not by choice necessarily. It's finding people that can
hang with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's just call it what it is.
They can't hang with me. It is. I forget.
You probably don't have a whole lot of time for somebody who's not working on a similar mental wavelength. And when I say mental, I mean strength. For instance, Brian, you're not a small talk person. No,
I'll throw it out there. Call me cocky. It's my opinion. It's not cocky if you could back it up.
Yeah, but I've had conversations with you. We get right to it. There's not a lot of time for the small talk. So I could imagine it's not just people in a wheelchair.
Able-bodied people.
Able-bodied people. Like you're I wouldn't say put off, but you have done too much in your life to have a simple conversation. You're looking for depth and purpose.
I don't want to be the smartest guy in the room.
Yeah.
That doesn't help me. So if you're not significantly better, stronger, smarter, driven than me, that's who I like to hang out with.
Yeah.
Because I am not going to increase, look at it like a ladder. If I'm on rung 4 and I want to get it to rung 6, if I'm talking to people on rung 3, is that going to help you?
Mm-mm.
I want to talk to people who are on the 10th step. And the problem is we think we don't deserve that ability to talk with them. Like, oh my gosh, they've accomplished so much. They don't want to talk to me. I don't care what they've accomplished. If they don't know what you want, they can't help you. And trust me, those people on rung 10, they want to help.
I will tell you that the people on rung 10 that I have come across and interacted with, and I just posted recently on LinkedIn, somebody by the name of Jeremy Roenick, and boy, oh boy, just gracious, wanted to talk, wanted to share insights, and was complimentary afterwards. Like I felt like these butterflies in my stomach, like, man, this guy's been interviewed thousands of times and he's complimenting me in a golf cart with a GoPro. Like, that's pretty cool.
That's real cool.
Yeah,
And
it's real cool. But to your point, like these folks that are on that rung 10, I think that they do want to give back. They just need to know where they can.
And who needs it?
And who needs it.
And a lot of people don't want to ask for help. Forget that. And I'll tell you why. When you help somebody in any capacity, physically, emotionally, spiritually, financially, how does it make you feel?
When I help someone?
Yes.
Well, it makes me feel probably as good as the person who got helped.
So if I'm not out there asking people to help me drive swift outdoor accessible recreation or to help me personally, I'm depriving them of this great feeling.
Yeah.
So look at it. Change
Interesting.
the way you
Change the spin.
perceive things. If you're not asking people to help you, you're depriving them
Of a chance to
of
help.
a chance to feel good.
Yeah. Huh.
Right? And
Wow.
so many people have been told no by their friends and family, have been buried in negativity, that they're afraid to hear no one more time.
So your time in sales prepared you for that a bit.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, anybody who's sold knows that no is just a part of the next step to getting closer to a yes. I mean, you've got to learn to be, Teflon-like, and to take the no's without taking it personally.
So, Brian, do you feel like you are somewhat of the voice for folks that won't ask for help?
A bit, and what drives me even more is, and God bless him, but Christopher Reeves did more for people with spinal cord injuries than anybody else has. And his voice and his message so resonated and opened the eyes of a country that kind of kept us really is the 9th redheaded stepchild in the family. And even though the foundation still exists, we're missing a voice out there.
The spokesperson's gone.
He's gone. And you know what? The foundation's still doing great, amazing things, and God bless him. But his voice, it's missed. It's missed in the community.
You need more spokespeople.
Absolutely.
There needs to be more voices. There needs to be more messaging. There needs to be more content creation. There needs to be more conversations. There needs to be a bigger community. There needs to be more contribution, and there needs to be more people feeling good because they had a chance to help.
Exactly. And understand the disability community, the spinal cord injury, even maybe the MS and some of these other communities. We are battling just to get seen out there because of this. When somebody gets an injury, a lot of time they get abandoned by their family, they get abandoned by their wife or husband, they get abandoned by their friends. They lose so much. They lose that support to be a voice. When you look at the big push now for some of the other horrible conditions going on, kids with ADHD, kids with Down syndrome, they've got their parents, they've got their relatives. That community is so strong because they have people advocating for them. We don't have that in the disability community. It takes so much work just to keep us surviving even, let alone thriving.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm blessed. I know people that are in wheelchairs that, it's a sip and puff. But you know what? I know guys with higher injuries than mine that can't move their hands, They're on ventilators. One guy, he's got a real estate business. I know another quad, he has a construction business. Yeah. What do you want? Let's go chase it down.
But for ADHD, there's a pill.
There's no pill.
You get my point.
Yeah.
It's like, the advocacy works because there's a pill behind it for pharmaceuticals, and it's sponsored by Pfizer. So
don't even get me started.
And so this is something that, quite honestly, is probably not going to. There's not going to be a pill for it.
Absolutely not.
And it's not. Insurance companies don't want to touch it. The pharmaceutical companies don't want to touch it. It's equipment companies, and those equipment companies
are charging unbelievable amounts of money. Why? Because there's 2 or 3 that are monopolies out there,
and that's it.
And they've cracked the code with working with Medicare, and we are at their whim and will.
It's unbelievable. And Brian, I do want to bring this up because I think that you make a really interesting point. So as of today, I don't mean to make this about me, but I need to bring this around in order for the point to be made. As of today, I think I'm 600 and something days sober. I'm really proud of myself. It's been a great experience, but I got to tell you, I'm also finding that it's super lonely. And here's the reason why I find it to be super lonely. You discover after a while that many of your relationships, friendships, and social gatherings are centered around the fact that you're going to enjoy some spirits and you're going to let loose and you're going to be a little nutty. And then when you run into a life crisis that kind of puts you in a situation where it's not really necessarily like, hey, I'm going to make a choice to stop drinking because it's November or I'm going to have a sober October, but you're actually making a choice to save your life, in essence. And that kind of gets around. You suddenly don't get invited to anything.
Just like you had a wheelchair.
Yeah. You suddenly find yourself that, wait a minute, all the friendships that I had were centered around a common theme. And because I'm not part of that common theme, I guess I'm no longer invited to the parties. I'm no longer that guy. I can only imagine somebody, let's say, that was, a musician, or that was an artist, or that was an athlete, and their friendships, we all know that friendships come from the root of something. We met somebody doing something, a common interest. And then all of a sudden, when you can't do that common interest, you really find out pretty quick who your friends are.
You know how many friends I lost?
All of them?
None.
Interesting.
Zero I lost. Not one of my friends ever bailed on me.
You're blessed.
Absolutely. They used me. They used me to get into sporting events and buy cheap tickets and sit behind.
Now, those are some awesome friends. Yeah.
I mean, we did. I mean, I've been blessed. I got guys.
You get the point that I'm making, though.
Absolutely. It's like being in a wheelchair. Listen, they saw that as a handicap. I can't go out with John because he's handicapped and won't have fun. All right, that's right. I forgot. I can't have fun and not drink, right?
I had people on a vacation thank me after day one for not being a jerk because they were drunk, and not making them feel bad. And I thought to myself, guys, have a blast. And I can only imagine, again, I'm not trying to make this about me, but I'm just trying to help people to relate to something, because I can't relate to being in a wheelchair.
And I can't relate to not fighting, being sober, and being so successful at 600 plus days as you have, because it does affect your friendships and it does affect your relationships outside your friendships. And it affects a lot of other things. And when you lose friends on top of it, it digs deep and it cuts deep. But, my parents always said, when shit hits the fan, and everybody's scattering, you'll see who your friends are.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's true as anything, I mean, my friends they've done anything and everything to keep me involved with everything they do. Hey, we're going to go play softball. Let's go play. Now, this was early. I wasn't moving that great. not to the degree I am now. Let's go play softball. You know what? All of a sudden they show up and they got a handle around a bat saying, listen, let's see if you can hit the ball. We'll help you. Or we're going to put you at first base. And if you can catch the softball, catch it. If not, it just got to hit your wheelchair. And that person's...
See, this is amazing.
So you're playing first base. We're going to throw it at you. If you can catch it, catch it. And if it hits your wheelchair, it's like a catch anyways. So my friends just included me. It was like,
so cool.
Hey, we're going to go do this, and we know you can't. It's we're going to do this. We're going to figure out how to include you and have fun. And again, I've been blessed to have that.
Some of this, Brian, I think probably inspired what you've done here because of your friends saying, hey, no, we'll just invent a way for this game to feel like it's just the regular game for you. And so you've kind of taken maybe some of those life experiences and said, you know what, I'm going to give that to all these people that maybe are feeling like everyone just sees the wheelchair. Absolutely. Well, we can't invite Brian because he's in a wheelchair. How in the world would he play first base? That's freaking crazy. And you go, no, there's a way. We'll throw the ball.
I'll try to catch it.
Yeah.
But as long as it hits me in the chair.
We can't go to the Caribbean. How in the world is Brian going to go scuba diving with it? What's he going to do, sit in the hotel room? No. SOAR's going to help them get in the water.
Absolutely. I went to a bachelor party years ago, and part of the bachelor party was first, before they went out, they were going to an ice rink because a lot of them were hockey players and ex-hockey players, and they were playing ice hockey, but obviously not with a real puck, not with skates. They were playing broom hockey or whatever they call it, and they put me on the ice, put me in the goal. I mean, I was the goalie. They gave me a stick. They duct taped it on my hand and said, keep the goal out.
I would have put you in goalie too. You're a big dude, man.
So, I mean, they found a way,
net.
but that was a mentality of that generation.
Yeah.
And I think they got that from me. They knew that it wasn't going to insult me. It wasn't going to hurt my feelings. And if it did, it is what it is. So I didn't prevent people from being my friends by being, ass hurt or being upset or being disappointed. Heck no, I'm a part of it, man. Bring me out. We'll figure something out.
Yeah. Yeah. Feel the same way. By the way, I'm available for parties. I'm still pretty freaking funny. Okay. So, just to let you know, still got some good jokes. Brian, I am always curious how in the world people get their nicknames. Yours seems to be a little bit more obvious, but is it a self-proclaimed nickname? Did somebody provide you with the nickname? Of course, the nickname is the Quadfather. How did that come about?
Well, most people call me Swifty. My last name is Swift. So teachers from grammar school, through high school, through college, call me Swifty. That was truly the nickname I grew. People at work, vice presidents, presidents of companies, Swifty, Swifty, Swifty. That was my nickname. So when I stopped at corporate and decided to go in a different direction, I heard all this talk about branding. You got to brand yourself, right? Who are you? Brian Swift. Well, nobody knows Brian Swift. Well, nobody's going to know anything else. Well, you got to brand. And I think I was out back doing something in nature as usual or by the fire pit. And like branding, what do I, is Brian Swift the right way to go? Is it, do you come up with another name? And I think I had celebrated, 35 years or something of being in the wheelchair. Not celebrated. I don't celebrate that date. But it was like 35 years. And it just came, it was like.
Just hit you.
And you know what? It might have been around Father's Day. And so, I think it was, I'm getting cards and it's, my father this. And I think I just put together, I am the Quadfather.
Yeah. It's pretty awesome.
Which then was like, oh man, it's like the Godfather, right? Yeah. Everybody's going to get Quadfather. So I branded myself as the Quadfather.
So you have to see this hat, right? So it's very similar font to the Godfather font. And then the H in father is a wheelchair. So the Quadfather. Pretty awesome hat. By the way, can somebody get this hat? Could somebody get this hat on your website?
I do. You know what? I will.
Because there's a bunch of Quadfathers out there, my friend.
There are. There definitely are. Yes, and I have sweatshirts and whatnot. If it's not on my website, I'll have to add it. We just rebranded our SOAR's logo. After 10 years, we rebranded. So we've kind of rebranded it with the Quadfather, ergo the new podcast, SOAR with the Quadfather. And because, a lot of what I do is driven towards SOAR, but the rest of my life is driven towards being the Quadfather.
So you probably heard the intro music to this podcast. And you're going to hear the outro music to this podcast, which is the same. And that music was written by the one and only Quadfather, who wrote the lyrics and then utilized some interesting methods in order to get the full beat and the music sung and so on. We're not going to give away all of his secrets here, but he wrote the lyrics. He's been working on that for a while, so pretty amazing. Again, you're listening to the SOAR Podcast powered by the Quadfather, right? And we are going to continue to create video content, put out monthly on a YouTube channel. Thank you for tuning in. We're going to be posting tons of clips, content clips, and we're going to be helping to guide you to understand how you can contribute to this greater mission. We'll also be looking for guests, interesting guests that want to come on and join in and talk with Brian and talk about their experience, whether it be in philanthropy, in dealing in the industry. Perhaps you are a brand or a company that is working with the industry that helps people in wheelchairs or quadriplegics to get around, to be accessible. And of course, we will be sharing all types of inspirational content that mainly Brian will be presenting from his speaking engagements and so on. So we thank you so much for tuning in. Brian, how can folks right now, impulsively, but with some thought, research SOAR, get some case studies, some testimonials, and some feel goods so that they can decide this quarter or the next quarter that as a business or an individual, they want to get involved?
No problem. Yes. Go to our website, SOARnonprofit.com. It gives you numerous ways to donate. It has a lot of helpful resources and information on it. It will tell you all about our mission. It'll show about some of our journey. You can reach out to me personally on social media, on whether that be LinkedIn, whether that be Facebook. You can reach out to me. I am it's the _Quadfather on Instagram. So building my Instagram up because I am a bit of a dinosaur with technology. I'm trying to learn more. But if you want to reach out, social media, my email address is bswift62@comcast.net. Again, it's bswift62@comcast.net.
Now, here's the deal. If you are an organization that is looking for a way to contribute from the tax perspective, awesome. But if you're also looking for a way to contribute by changing lives and offering out resources that help people to live out some of their dreams, this is a great avenue. But here, I'm going to put an extra kicker in there. Brian is also somebody that you could have come out and talk to your team. You could have Brian come out and talk to your sales team. You know that sales team that is 20% off a budget and continues to tell you that the leads stink and they don't seem to want to make those phone calls, and maybe they have a whole bunch of excuses, and you know the market's out there, but there's just something off with that sales team. Brian would be a great person to have come out and talk to your sales team because there are no excuses. He's taken all of the excuses and he's run them over with his wheels and he's burned rubber on them, and he said there is no excuses. And he has a way to inspire your sales team to look at things from a different perspective and to go after it. You know that team that you think should create content and should have a social presence, that should maybe be brand champions and telling the story of the brand, the ones I'm talking about? Well, but they just seem to say they don't have enough time, and they just can't get to it, and they couldn't come up with any ideas to put out as it relates to content. Well, maybe you should have Brian and I both come out and talk to them, because Brian puts out more content than I do per day, and I run a content management company. Brian is putting out 5-6 posts on multiple platforms literally daily. And you want to tell me that your sales team and your executive leadership team can't put a few posts out to promote a brand? I find that to be interesting. So what say you, Brian? Would you be open to going out
Absolutely.
and talking to a brand about how they can drive their sales, create brand awareness?
It's part of what I do. Actually, I'm going to be at Moraine Valley speaking to parts of their organization at the end of the month. It's a community college. So speaking at colleges, universities, businesses is part of what I do. And it's not just sales teams, it's leadership, it's management. And those are two different things, leadership, management. But a lot of people in sales forget they are leaders, and they've got to start acting like leaders, not salespeople. I don't even like the term salesmen. I prefer to call them consultants.
Advisors.
Yes, advisors, consultants. So yes, that is part of what I do, as well as share some of my books. I've been blessed. I'm a 3-time Amazon bestselling author. I have authored 9 books. So some of those books and some of the other things that I'm writing are driven towards leadership, towards management, towards just a different mindset.
Yeah.
You got to change your mindset. There are too many people out there that stop believing, stop dreaming, and trust me, that can be turned around.
You know what's really, really difficult to do when you're in a room with Brian is to make any excuses, because there are no excuses with Brian. He's written 9 books, folks. 9 books, 3 bestsellers.
And I typed them all with these hands that don't work.
He's typed them, folks. Okay, so let's talk to one last group of people here.
Absolutely.
Let's talk to the folks that are in a similar situation to you, that have been in that situation for a long time. Maybe have given up just a little bit, or perhaps they've said, well, there's really no answer. Or maybe some of their disruption in life has caused them to internalize and become a bit selfish. Because when you're depressed, depression is one of the most selfish stances you could possibly have. I'm somebody who has it, so I'm not pointing the finger at you, I'm pointing the thumb at me. It's really hard to be depressed when you're ultra grateful. So spend a lot of time being grateful.
Absolutely.
And it'll help you to get rid of your excuses. But let's talk to these folks that find themselves in a similar pattern on a daily basis that you live out. How can they get involved? Why should they get involved? How can they contribute? And how will doing those 3 things enrich their life and help them to get to another level?
Well, first thing I would say is share a post. Everything's not about money. Success is not just about the money. So share a post. Share something that I've put out there, that SOAR's put out there, the Quadfather's put out there. Comment. Like it. Go to my one of my other pages. Go to SOAR's page.
Subscribe to this podcast.
Subscribe to the podcast. Like it. Get involved. And then how is it going to help you make some decisions? Because you're sitting there saying, I didn't have all the resources he had. My family won't help me. My friends have abandoned me. I don't have what he had. And I'm going to tell you this. There are people in the world that have every resource available. They have the money, they have love, they have support, they have technology, they have everything they need to succeed, and yet they fail to. Why is that?
Why is that?
We all have seen it.
Yeah.
Well, I guarantee we all have friends
Daily.
out there
We'll drive past 1,000 of them today.
Absolutely. Here's the key. This is one of my why I have been more successful than most. I didn't have technology when I got hurt. I didn't have money when I got hurt. I didn't have a lot of those resources. What I had was time, and I had family. And that family was built around faith. But what I had to become was resourceful. And the people that succeed, that guy down in the gutter, that guy who succeeds and makes the NBA, the NFL, whatever they make, who was so down and out, did it because they were resourceful, not because they had the resources. So you have to learn to become resourceful and build a community around you. By joining our community and liking and subscribing, you are starting your journey on building your community.
Ladies and gentlemen, that has been Brian P. Swift. He is the Quadfather, and you have heard SOAR, the podcast. Have a great day.
I'm the Quadfather, OG of the grind. Rolling through life, leave the haters behind. Built from the struggle, yeah, you know who I be. Respect to the hustle, that's the energy of the OG.